Welcome to All Things Policy, a daily podcast supported by Pragati, a flagship media initiative of the Takshashila Institution. We're a bunch of policy nerds based in Bengaluru, and we like to bring a fresh perspective to Indian affairs and an Indian perspective to global affairs. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and join us for today's chat.
Hello and welcome to another episode of All Things Policy. Today, I'm joined by my colleagues Bharath and Rohan to discuss a phenomenon unheard of Indian media landscape. Viacom 18 won the digital media rights for 23,758 crores, overtaking the traditional media rights which went to Star India for 23,575 crores. Now, a marginal difference of few crores might not seem a big deal, but in reality it is, as this is for the first time digital media rights have sold for more than TV, reflecting the growing interest in digital viewership in the country. Now, I want to throw the ball to Rohan Pai and ask him what is the whole bidding process and why this is such a big thing in the media landscape.
Yeah, hey Ritul, thanks for the question. So I think I'd first like to point out that what this has indicated is that the bidding rights for IPL is actually not about the IPL at all, right? It's an indication of the growing digital media landscape in India. And this can be credited to, the huge investment in the OTT space, because it's a no-brainer that all these platforms will command a majority of all entertainment viewership in India within the next decade. So as of now, at 48,390 crores, IPL is now the second most valued sporting event, just behind the United States NFL. And this has recorded a threefold increase from what the rights were paid for in 2017. So in 2017, Disney-Star got the rights for 16,347 crores for the 2018 to 2022 seasons. But for the next 5 seasons, it's been divided across many players for roughly 48,000 crores. So coming to the bidding process, right? I think the way the BCCI arranged it was very smart. They divided it into 4 packages. So package A, B, C, and D. And package A was for television only. And this was for 74 games in the season. So as of now in 2023, we're expecting to see 74 games, but this number might increase to 84 and then 94 in the next 5 seasons. So package A was specifically for television. Package B was for the digital rights, which we're mainly going to focus on today. So the digital rights includes mainly OTT, and this is also for the 74 games. But the interesting twist here is that 56 games out of these 74 are on an exclusive basis, and 18 games are on a non-exclusive basis. So the 18 games are also going to be bid for in package C. So this means that the BCCI has thrown 18 out of 74 games open for 2 players to get. And this makes it very tricky for anyone bidding for these games, because let's assume that Viacom 18 bid for package B and they won the bid, which is exactly what happened. But it also meant that they would only make a profit if they won the bids for package C, because if they don't get the rights for the 18 non-exclusive games, it might be the case that those 18 games were free to air and their advertising revenue from those 18 games would just plummet. So, and as it was expected, Viacom 18 bid for package B and package C, and they did not stop until they won the rights for package C. And finally, package D was for TV and digital both, but for matches not just to be viewed in India, but across the world. So this was divided into 4 main regions. So the US, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and the Middle East. So that's the whole bidding process and a lowdown on how it works.
Thank you so much, Rohan. That's actually fascinating. Now, I have a lot of questions to ask here, but I want to zoom out first and sort of take either from Bharat or you to what actually are digital media rights? I mean, so does it involve TV, internet, social media? What is like the broader arc of digital media rights?
Yeah, so digital media rights mainly mainly is about the OTT platforms, right? So now that we have so many OTT players in the market today, and viewership for cricket matches is shifting from television to the internet, it means that it only makes more sense for the BCCI to have a separate package just for digital media. So this is also a step forward in making these matches more accessible to those in tier two and three cities where the coverage of TV also wasn't that great. But yeah, this is just a sign that the takeover from OTT platforms is now here, and we're only seeing more investment in the space because it's only going to grow.
All right, all right. Now, coming back to what you just said, I also want to understand, like the whole TV media model is we're well aware of that they run ads and that is how essentially they make money. But how are these digital only platforms making money? Are they able to break even? And I remember digital only never used to have ads in between the overs, like
Right.
initially, but now they do. So how is Star India, or are they able to make Disney? Are they able to make break even?
Yeah, so Disney Disney-Star is supposed to be at the moment one of the most successful OTT ventures, and thanks to the IPL for that, really, because the IPL is the reason why the subscriptions on the platform increased threefold in the last few years. And the main revenue model has been to do it through advertisements for Disney-Star that work really well for them, and Netflix and Amazon, which famously said that, we're never going to have advertisements on our platform, have now shifted, are now, at least Netflix is now currently thinking of shifting towards advertisements to make revenue because their business model in India has failed. They're not able to they're not able to even break even just through subscriptions. And they just assume that since India is a large market, capturing a big market share would help them break even and generate good profits in the market. But this has not happened as predicted. And this is also because of the rising competition from other new OTT platforms. There's been investments from Reliance through Viacom 18 and Voot. There's been Z, there's Sony, there's also international players like Apple and all that coming in. So everyone sees a space in the OTT market now, and it means that subscriptions are not the most reliable way for you to make or generate profits. Your business model has to change and accommodate advertisements, which is also why those bidding for the IPL, they will look at making money back through advertisements mainly. Because when you're spending close to around 50,000 crores totally, I think the best way you expect to make back your money would be through advertising.
Hey,
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, go ahead.
uh, just to add to what Rohan is saying, I think considering the amount, Viacom has paid for these digital media rights, it is expected that they'll be only able to make a profit or even break even in the fourth year of the period that they have taken the rights for. So it's a 5 year period, and only during the fourth year, I think there's also expected that there'll be a transition from TV to digital media over this period of time, and it's only during the very end of that period that Viacom can really break even, and in the fifth year is when they'll expect to see a profit, according to some estimates on this.
Yeah, like a classic case of, investing more beforehand and building scale before you actually see revenue in on the positive side of your balance sheet. So I think that's the model that they'll be following.
Yeah, and the thing with cricket is also it's wild that there's no other sport in the world which has space for commercials with such frequency. I mean, every
Yeah,
six ball there will
exactly.
be an ad. So I think
Yeah,
it's an advertiser's paradise. And in fact,
right.
so I was just reading that each IPL match has around 3,000 seconds of commercial time, and
Yeah.
so yeah, they plan to raise money through both advertisement and subscriptions. As a matter of fact, for the season that just concluded, the average rate for a 10-second spot was around 14-15 lakhs.
Wow.
And
Okay.
this is an average number, but because when in prominent matches and at junctures where the match were really close, the last few overs, it would often go to 45 crore for a 10 seconds spot. I mean, that's
Wow.
wild.
Yeah.
And yeah, so and translate into it into 74 games. which is around 3,000, 3,500 crores. So
Exactly.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the numbers are huge. But again, going a step back, this wild sort of that they've tried to get these rights will have certain implications, and a lot of these players will try to sort of monopolize. They will also sort of use it for other means, as you said that Disney has gained a bulk of its subscribers. I mean, they've ridden on IPL as a means to gain subscribers.
Yeah.
So Bharat, do you see any other player sort of coming in? And I know, I mean, we all know there's been inside chatter for Viacom 18 doing it, which is a Reliance back for its geo platforms. So, do you have any insights on that front?
So, looking at one of the reasons why Geo could be paying such a hefty price for these digital rights, so they might be trying to leverage their strengths across different verticals. So now, on one hand, they have Geo platforms, which is the country's largest telecom service provider. It has the largest number of broadband subscribers in the country. India is a country where the majority of people use internet through mobile phones, right? I think only one in around 10 houses in India have a fixed broadband connection, a wired broadband connection. So a lot of people, for a lot of people, a mobile phone is their primary means of access to the internet. And so you need content for them to increase their subscriber base, to be able to, grow their market share in the geo platforms business. And then they also have the other verticals, which is Viacom, Voot, and now with the broadcast rights for IPL, all of that. And they also have they own one of the most successful IPL teams. So if you look at these different verticals and we're just focusing on some of these, so they could leverage their strengths across all of these things and probably extract more value from the IPL media rights than other platforms could, other their competitors could. So for them, it would not only be the the strength that they get, I mean, the value that they get from the digital media rights, but also how it would complement their other businesses. So these complementary, I mean, the strengths in complementary areas could give them, I mean, could lead to network effects that could be more valuable than what the value that they can derive only from one of these verticals. So that I think would be a really big thing for Geo and Viacom 18 and the whole ecosystem.
Right. So,
Yeah,
just if I could
yeah.
delve into this further, like Bharat, so since you were mentioning this and since you were also discussing the subscription model, so until now it would be such that, the broadcaster paid BCCI to buy the rights for the cricket, went to the consumer and said, pay me a subscription fees of, let's say, rupees 100 per month and watch cricket. But now it's like the broadcaster will pay huge sums to buy the cricket rights and then say, maybe keep your 100 rupees. I don't want the subscription fee, but buy my other products, like buy my 5G data or, you know, shop on my e-retail platform. So Tata New is something which I think is a good example of this. They put all their services together and club them all into one service or one app. Do you think that maybe because Viacom 18 also got the rights for package B and C, they might do this for all the Reliance verticals?
Yeah, it's very.
Rohan, just want to sort of talk about it for a moment. That Tata Neu has actually been under a lot of sort of radar for this, because what they've done is they've collected all sorts of data from every Tata service that you've ever used, from Vistara to Taj Hotels to Big Basket to Tata 1mg, and this is critical data. Which hotel have
Right.
you stayed? What is your medicine record with 1mg? Chroma, which laptop you bought in your college, and they've consolidated everything into one. And all these acquisitions that they did, which is Big Basket, 1mg, they've slightly tweaked the regulations and sort of assimilated into the larger Tata database. And it has invoked a lot of questions. And quite evidently, that we don't have a data protection regime, and individual data is sort of out there in the open to speculate whatever way you want. This is a real problem.
Right.
So yeah, so I mean, this is I don't know. So this is what I want to come to, that what are the public policy ramifications of this, like of the whole digital media landscape? And two, is the competition commission, let's say, watching this? Are they able to spot monopolies being created?
So coming back to what Rohan was asking, so I think they would very likely try to bundle the IPL on say a boot platform or some on some other streaming service into a geo subscription plan, right? So
Right.
when and then leverage the strength of that to sell other things on their platform,
Yeah.
maybe a music or a digital marketplace or whatever that could be. So they will try to leverage all of these strengths to complement and make it a complete ecosystem of that you don't need to leave geo platforms for any of your requirements. So that is one thing. And coming back to the competition issues, so they have market power in all of these things, and they're leveraging that market power to strengthen their business. So from that perspective, I don't know if there's really an abuse of market power for a competition regulator to come and intervene, unless there is some kind of an abuse of market power where they try to prohibit, competition or something like that. That would make it a valid case for for CCI to come and intervene, right? So
Okay.
in this situation, I'm not sure there is something like that.
Right. And do you think it would be useful to have something like that, if considering the fact that, all these players with huge market power are currently buying, so many services, they have access to so many services, they can provide all these services to consumers and just bundle it under one big product and provide that to consumers? Is that going to be an issue for smaller players and like emerging players in the market?
I'm just thinking that same because these guys with deep pockets, as Bharat said, Star can sort of will only break even in the fourth year. Now,
Right.
now
Yeah.
for a player who's starting it out, you can't even enter this game now. Now these rights are exclusively closed to these bunch of big stalwarts of media landscape.
Yeah. The barrier to entry is just so high
Yeah,
because
it's becoming
if
higher.
you
Yeah,
don't have finances, then you can't really do anything in this space.
Yeah, but I think that maybe having everything integrated and trying to that might not always be something that will work, right? You might have you might see disruptions in other aspects of the industry that a big integrated platform like would not be able to think of. So we can maybe hope that there is scope for competition still, and a startup would be still able to compete and
But
create.
like, if you just imagine this kind of scenario, like in the future, where let's say you buy the Reliance service for Viacom 18 to watch your cricket matches, then you slowly start bundling all their products as different services because you think it's useful and they're marketing it to you. So at one, like your dependency on just one platform or one service provider is now so high, like even for
yeah.
you to switch from that one service provider to another is going to be a lot of money.
This is like Apple creating the ecosystem.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to buy. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what like it's um we're talking about digital media rights for the IPL here, but like the implications of that are so many because
Yeah.
it's all about, the OTT space growing and the OTT space which is being led by these big players who have so much market power for so long in the Indian economy especially. So
True.
I think it's the multiplication I'm sorry, the implications are just unthinkable.
True. One more thing, Rohan. This is a very novice question, but how is the money distributed across the channels? Like, how much money do these stadiums make, and how do these teams earn revenue? And the channels are, I'm assuming it's ticketing, it's subscription, and advertisement. Like, do you have either of you have any idea that how much money do these stadiums get, and do teams get money out of the ticketing sales, or the teams are only reliant on how do these teams make money in the first place?
So I can tell you a little bit about how the teams make money. So let's talk about up until the point where, like before the pandemic,
Hmm.
ticketing revenue was obviously one of the big places where they could make their income. Right, the stadiums would divide the income from ticketing revenue for the stadium and for the
Hmm.
team. So
Okay.
let's take the case of like Royal Challengers Bangalore because they're the best
Yeah.
team. So let's just assume
Okay.
Let's just
Yeah.
assume that the Karnataka State Cricket Association, which used to host 8 of the home games for RCB, they would divide the revenue between each other, all the ticketing revenue. But the team specifically later on has multiple other sources of revenue, right? First of all, just participating in the tournament, you make a certain amount. Where you place obviously makes a huge difference on that. And the other main revenue stream is, again, you might have guessed, advertising. So if you notice that during the IPL period, all players who come in advertisements are only wearing their team jersey. You don't see them marketing for other brands unless they're in, like, let's say, unless Virat Kohli is in an RCB jersey. And that's because even the teams strike a deal with the players, which says that, I'm paying you 20 crores for the next 3 seasons. Any marketing or ad revenue that you make during the IPL season, during the period of the IPL, goes straight to the team's kitty. It's not for the player at all. So at any point in time, even if the team is finishing last in the league every time, their advertisement revenues are very high because they pretty much are selling out all their players to do advertisements for them. So all the advertisements that happen with the team's players are going directly to the team and nothing to the players. So that's mainly how these, how the teams make money in IPL.
The teams also have a share of the proceeds, from the proceeds of the digital media rights and the TV rights, right?
Yeah.
50% goes to BCCI and 50% to all of the teams. Is that understanding correct?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not too sure of that either, but I think as far as I've read, that's right.
All right. I think this is quite informative, and both I've learned a lot, and I'm assuming that you guys have also learned from each other. With this, I think let's call it a wrap.
Yeah, sure.
Any closing remarks, guys?
I would like to see how it goes. Yeah, I would like to believe that having a big player which is trying to leverage their strengths across multiple verticals, they might have some advantages. But I am hoping that a startup would be able to come and disrupt this industry. Maybe not the IPL digital rights industry, but the entertainment industry or something like that. I am. That's something I would look forward to.
I'd say I'm for me it's the as much as I don't want to get into the platform fatigue, so everything consolidated in one looks nice, but it is also a nightmare that they control so much that if any of their servers crash, I'm not able to watch anything or whatever. So yeah, that's certainly, it comes at a humongous cost, but I think it will be interesting to see how it evolves. My only hope is that YouTube still has some highlights, so I can always go and watch something. But increasingly, we've seen that YouTube is being something which is left out now. You can't. You have to go to these platforms to even see the recap or highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah. My only closing remark would be, I hope Royal Challengers Bangalore wins IPL at least once.
Come on.
Nice.
All right. Thank you so much.
Isari Cup.
We will catch you. What?
I just said Isari Cup Namde.
I think that's a good note to end this episode. Thank you so much. We will catch you in the next episode of All Things Fun.
Thanks, Ritul. Thanks, Bharath.
Yeah, thank you.
If you liked our show, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can tune into them on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow IVM on social media. The handle is @IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And hey, if you'd like to dive into Takshashila's research on technology, strategy, and economic affairs, check us out at our Twitter handle @TakshashilaINST or our website takshashila.org.in.